Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. So we have a brand new time trial to tackle for the next couple of weeks, this time at Tsukuba in damp conditions on comfort tyres with the AudI TTS, and overall it is still a lot more fun than the Fugu Z at Willow Springs that we had for the last couple of weeks, although I did manage to, only just get my gold for that one. So as you can see, this is a quick overview. As we can see, it's lap time challenge, Tsukuba circuit, AudI TTS coupe from 2014. The current world record at the time of getting this footage was a 108.34, 034, sorry. We have 2 weeks to complete this. I'm currently in the gold, around about 7 tenths off the world record, but at the time of recording I believe it was around about 5 tenths, so you might see that it might differ just slightly. So let's have a look at the world record at the time of recording. This is going to be a little bit slower than the current record. It's just been outdone actually in the time of checking, and as you can see, it's all about just keeping your car in as high gears as possible to give yourself as much traction as possible. So yeah, you're going to see a lot of short shifting around these runs. You don't need to go really any lower than second gear, as you can see. So second gear through there, up to third. As soon as it gets to the top, you let it rev out just slightly. Now in terms of the line, it's there, but it's kind of not at the same time. There's a lot of kind of damp and wet patches, and you're going to see a majority of them you have to be kind of careful of, hence why a lot of cars are sort of, it almost looks like they're just running straight on, but in reality they're not. It's kind of, to keep as much grip as possible on exits of corners, hence the short shifting as well. Obviously combining that, it's going to give you a pretty fast lap overall. Obviously running on the comfort soft tyres, they're not the quickest compound in the world. They're actually quite terrible to drive on, but as long as you carry on short shifting and stuff, you should have enough traction realistically to get yourself a nice clean lap in. So this is the world record at the time of recording, which was a 3:41 in the 1:08, so a fairly quick lap overall. And obviously my personal best so far is a 108.7. Again, that's been top now because we're in the kind of 108 zeros, so kind of up to the 108 ones for the fastest current lap time. That is probably going to change. You'll probably see a bunch of cars getting into the 1:07s, probably rather quite easily as the time goes on. But early stages, this is a lot more fun than the Fugu Z time trial that we had at Willow Springs recently. I really just could not get on with that one, although I did manage to sneak a gold in, so I got my nice 2 million payout from that one. I honestly see this lap and this time trial as a lot less kind of annoying. The damp conditions really aren't too bad. So let's talk about the car we're given for this time trial, the AudI TTS. Overall, it is a much easier car to drive than the Fugu Z. I'd just say overall it's a lot less twitchy. Again, reacting really well to high gears and short shifting, especially on the the tyre compound it's on. It really doesn't feel too bad, considering the fact that we're running comfort tyres, which are notorious for being painful to drive any car on, but it really doesn't feel too bad. Tsukuba is not a massively high speed circuit at all, so you're not going to be rocketing yourself around or having to get on the brakes nice and early, to be quite honest. The car's not that quick, and overall the track is not that built for high speed, so it's a fairly nice combination overall. And it's quite nice to see the the kind of damp conditions really kind of shaking things up and kind of changing your lines and your driving style, so you're causing less slip in the car and such. But overall I'm finding that the damp patches, while they do upset the overall balance of the car, they're not too terrible to the point where it's just going to kind of spin you around or throw you in the barrier or anything like that. I would say it's overall a fairly decent combination and really not too stressful. I'd expect a lot of people to do rather quite well, especially if you've driven in the kind of damp and wet conditions in Gran Turismo 7 many times before. Few little pointers I can give you in terms of basic general tips and tricks. Don't run traction, it will massively bog you down. Try and keep as little assists on the car as possible. Obviously if you need to get a few kind of observation laps in, I'd recommend just popping a line on, popping a braking zone on, although most of the time I would say that kind of braking zone is massively out compared to where you realistically need to be slowing the car down. Although it kind of tries to cater for the wet conditions, it's still wanting you to kind of brake extremely early in comparison to realistically where you need to be braking. But a driving line again for a few kind of observation laps will probably be decent to kind of I guess get your head around the track and sort of learn where the game might want you to go. Again, boot up the fastest replays in the world. You can get a good idea of how they're driving the car, where they're kind of lifting, where they're braking. In all honesty, I do manage to learn a lot in terms of the overall lap time challenges, just from watching them replays and just studying a few of them, and I fully recommend you guys do it. In terms of loading up ghosts, again, if you want to, go for maybe the fastest person on your friends list that's got a ghost to boot up, or if you're kind of more further up the board, certainly load up the world's fastest. You can kind of see the lines they're taking, where they're braking and all that stuff. Again, if you're going to be quite far back from that world record ghost, then it may be a little bit more pointless, but certainly do recommend loading up someone else's ghost that's a bit faster than you, so you can kind of just learn where they're going and, you know, what lines they're taking, where they're braking and all that good stuff. So let's take a quick overview of my personal fastest lap. As you can see, we're currently on a 1:08.859 as we go into this lap. Again, we're going to almost mimic what the world record was doing. Again, a lot of the time really comes from when you shift up. If you do get one of your up shifts or down shifts wrong, realistically that's where you're going to be losing the most time. I'd say the obvious line here to keep it on, you know, the most dry part of the track is really obvious, to be quite honest. It's not difficult to kind of hit that line. Again, it's maybe not the most natural line, but overall it is just much quicker to try and keep it as on the kind of, you know, dry part of the track rather than the damp the majority of the time. Again, a lot of the cars kind of turning and power and basically getting through the corners comes from, you know, lifting and, you know, putting the throttle back on. So a lot of throttle control is realistically needed to get a decent lap time in. Short shifting is almost essential for this, so I fully recommend running that manual. And as you can see, as we go into the right hander here, this is where I feel like I'm losing quite a bit of time. As you can see, we sort of downshift it and then upshift, and it's just going to upset the balance of the car just a little bit too much. Probably just missing realistically where I want to get the car, you know, for the most perfect lap time. But a 1:08.761 for me. So there we have it. That is a quick overview of the latest time trial using the AudI TTS. I would say this is definitely a more fun time trial. It's one that I'll probably put a lot more time in than I did the Fugu Z one. In all honesty, I just put a few laps into that one, and you know, after a bunch of retries and restarting, I was just done with it. So I am glad to see the back of that one. Now, in terms of the damp conditions, it might kind of turn some people away, but I'd definitely say it's not as brutal as you may think at first. The AudI TTS overall is a fairly easy car to drive, and it's definitely not as, you know, kind of twitchy or I guess as, you know, kind of track limity in terms of the track as it was at kind of Willow Springs. There is a few kind of bits you realistically can kind of cut out a bunch of time at, but it's nothing as extreme as kind of running onto the desert and such at Willow Springs. So yeah, certainly enjoying this lap time challenge. It's certainly one that I'll be tackling over the next couple of weeks. I just thought I'd give you a quick overview and I guess an early guide. Obviously, if this kind of, you know, I see the times plummeting, I'll update this guide closer to the time that this finishes to see realistically where I'm at that point in the time trial. So that's going to be it from me today. Don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. Turn your notifications on so you don't miss an upload from me. I upload GT7 and motorsport content each and every day for your viewing pleasure. I also just want to give a big quick shout out to both Poggers and the Controller people for their continued support of the channel, as well as my channel members. I'm massively grateful for those guys each month kindly donating towards the channel and helping this channel grow. And yeah, I'll have my Twitter, my Discord and my donation link in the description down below, and I will see you later on, guys. Take care. Peace.